Mhm.
Hey guys, welcome to the Casey Catch Up. We got the woman of the moment, Olivia Piana. That was unbelievable. That world record foil that you just smashed my record by like another 70 Ks and added on another sort of 2 or 3 hours. Just showed what the human body is capable of. So I was stoked to follow along. A lot of people were stoked to watch too. So first of all, a big congrats. But I wanted to get you on to talk about obviously the world record foil, also how you got into downwind foiling, but then finish off with the races you're looking at doing coming up this month in July. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Olivia.
Thank you, James. Super happy to talk to you. And yeah, it was actually the best time of the year to do it in Europe with the long days of 15 hour of flights. And we got the good condition. Luckily, it was not. I wanted to do it in June, like early in June or like beginning of June to 21 of June, really the longest day.
Mhm.
But the condition was not so good, so was on the 29th last Thursday, and yeah, it was the perfect condition. So yeah, it's
It was so cool to
something like
watch.
really special, like a mix of what, like, first, why do I do it? That's the question. Like I was thinking like okay, like you opened the way, like when you did it into like last April 2022
Mhm.
was, wow, was huge. Like was something like almost not understandable, like how is it possible to do 200 kilometer in one day?
Mhm.
And then it really uh like inspired me a lot. And then I was thinking that maybe in Portugal was possible as well, and I really wanted to try at least. And actually, the sport of foil is completely different than sup racing or running or biking. It's really something else. It's really like when you are good on your gear, when the conditions are delivering. It's just about reading the ocean and being part of it, and it's a lot of technique,
Yeah.
actually, more than like the physical aspect count, but it's like, let's say, 70% of technique.
For sure. And I think he showed that and what's possible because yeah, 14 hours of doing something, not many people um not many people do 14 hours of anything, So it's 14 hours of physical activity um shows that you definitely had your equipment dialed and you were reading the conditions really well. And yeah, it was awesome to watch. I'm gonna back up a little bit. I want to talk to you first about how you got into downwind foiling because we both used to sup race a lot. And you know sup racing for us has stopped a little bit more. Sup racing still exists and still thriving, especially in Europe, but it's gone more from sort of surf racing and downwind racing to now it's a lot more flat water races. And I think I'm speaking on behalf of you, but like for me, I really enjoyed the surf race and the downwind racing aspect of sup racing. And
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
the flat water racing didn't really excite me. It was good for fitness, but it wasn't my passion. So the downwind foiling has fully overtaken my like sporting ambitions. And sup downwind racing is a very small sport now because everyone that was doing it is now foiling, it seems.
Yeah.
So
Looks like.
yeah. So how did that transition work for you? And how was your learning experience on the downwind foil or foiling?
Yeah, actually, I when I did surprising was because windsurfing was too complicated, and then it was much easier to use the wind with the sup and enjoying the swell. And downwind was also my first my favorite way to practice sup racing.
Yeah.
And then the flat water races was really to be part of the tour, and then to be with the friends and to compete and to make the sponsor happy, let's say.
Yeah.
Even if it was fun too, it was a part of the game, but I was like you, more a surfer than a pure flat water racer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the hardest part for me to stop sup racing was to quit my second family. Like, you know, I did the Euro Tour, I did the World Championship, I did it for 10 years. And I had my routine. Let's say I had my job, and it took so much year to have the confidence, like the credibility, and to have the contract with the sponsor, and to have all of it down, that to say, okay, so like I guess that any sport like career is super hard to stop.
Mm.
And even more when when you really love your community. And then actually the COVID helped a lot. Like it
Yeah.
was like a break into
Yeah.
the sup racing craziness, like doing races in summer every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it made the transition more softly, let's say. Like it was, oh, okay, so there is the COVID, so now we do only foiling. And then yeah, I was completely addicted to foiling, and then wing foiling, and then surf, everything about foiling. And it's actually also effortless comparing to regular sup racing. And it's also like you can manage better your training. It's not 12 training the week, like something like that. When I was sup racing, I was training twice a day, really training hard, doing interval training and gym and recovering, doing like longer distance training. It was really, I was pretty strict to have to get the result I wanted to get in this sport. And it's foiling is not the same. I'm more a free rider, you know.
Yeah.
I really go when like I can manage my training more like easily with my personal life, and have a like train like almost half that's what I did in sup racing.
Yeah.
So this is also like something that counts in the balance. And when I did 1 year of Olympic windsurfing, IQ foil in
Mm-hmm.
Marseille with the French team, and I was super surprised that actually the guys and girls, they train not so much like we did in sup racing, like in really endurance sports. In terms of hours, it was like 40 hour of training the month,
Yeah. Right.
and not the week.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking that's a lot for a
Yeah,
week,
like,
but
and
well, for a
if you
month,
do,
it's not much.
no, but I mean, if you do quality training, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think sup racing's look, it obviously set us both up pretty well for downwind foiling because of the sup aspect of it and the ability to sprint and balance and read the bumps. But like you said, sup racing is a very physical sport. Like every stroke, you have to work for speed, whereas foiling, it's like the opposite. Like you get up on foil and it's like, okay, now we just place the board in the right spot and you just glide. And it's
Yeah.
in terms of the
Yeah.
training.
If you read well and if you have some luck, you can really make the difference more on the technique, and
Mm,
it's not only physical. It's
yeah,
about also your gear, how you feel on your gear, your setting, and your confidence on your gear.
yeah. So
Something
so
completely different.
it's
Yeah.
so different, but it's similar in the respect that us coming from more sort of wave riding than and downwind rather than sort of flat water, like lake sort of paddling. Um, it's a similar feeling in that once you get that glide, that it's like addicting, and the glide is like exponential on a foil compared to a stand up. So I actually did a race, the Aussie Champs last year in October, and I hadn't raced a SUP for a long time, but we had really good downwind conditions. So I felt really unfit on the SUP, but because the conditions were really good, I ended up coming second behind Ty Judson. And it was just like a series of like sprints to get up onto the foil, paddle to get the speed. And then once you were planing, it was just like I was foiling, but the planing only lasted like 10 seconds. And then I had to paddle hard again, like I was dropped off the
Yeah.
foil.
You're like, what
Yeah.
is happening? It's
Yeah,
not
I was like, why
taking off.
yeah, why am I not going up? Yeah. So it was to me, I started giggling
Weird,
to,
no?
yeah, laughed to myself because it was like I see the similarities, but the foil has so much more reward, which is why there's so many people that have got into foiling, and it's why love
Yeah.
the downwind foiling. It's a lot of fun. I want to go into more of your learning to downwind foil experience and really good insight into how that transition was, because I felt the same, and COVID was a really good like reset because we could like recalibrate, reassess our life choices and goals and go from there. And when you started foiling, did you start on a SUP or did you start winging, or how was that process to learn the downwind foil? And then once you got into downwind foil, what was the hardest part?
I start foiling on a surf in the Basque Country of the southwest of France. I start with crazy guys that bring me on big white water wave. I was like doing turtle, like yeah, like this. But then I did it on the river behind the boat and step by step. It was in 2017, summer 2017. And then I went to Portugal and I found a really nice spot to sup, to train on the sup and also to train on the subfoil, on the waves, like very soft waves. And then I did a lot of hours there. Finally get it to catch the wave and then fly and then catch the second sink bank, continuing. Like it's a really long wave of, I would say, 400 meters, so pretty long.
Yeah.
And this help a lot, when you start on a wave and then the wave stop and then the same swell starts again on the next sandbank.
Yeah.
That's a good way to train. And then my first downwind on the SUP was in the Mediterranean in France when I used to do SUP downwind a lot, like the regular SUP.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went with my friend, and a friend of mine gave me this Robert Territeo board, the Territeo like from Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a huge, like maybe 34-inch large
Yeah.
and 6 foot long, like really like the
Square.
the
Yeah.
bubble, like
Yeah. The egg.
like, and I was like, but super light.
Yeah.
Super light. And I was like on this little boat, like for me it was huge, it was 130 liters or something like that. And then I remember that the hardest thing is really like you don't know what you are going, like you really to have super committed, like to take off. And it was also with the first Takuma foil, the LOL. So like the first model of foil that was working, but today when you start sub downwind foil, you have a high aspect wing that help much more.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, I was like taking off and then losing the flight because I just didn't know what I had to do, like to have enough speed and then to continue my flight. And yeah, then I discovered that it was really all about self-confidence and commitment and going for it, like putting all your body in front and for the takeoff. That is super important.
Yeah.
And yeah, during this it was an 8-kilometer run, so pretty short, but I didn't fly very well. Like I maybe fly a few meters, like 10 meters, and then when you don't fly, when you do sub downwind foil, it's really long, man.
Yeah, 8Ks
You know,
is
it's
long
like
if you're
really
not
like you
flying.
paddle
Yeah.
a lot. Like
Yeah.
you can really paddle a lot. Then yeah, and then I try again, and I really remember this run that I do here at home. It's a 28 kilometer run. Today I do it in my best time is 1 hour and 11 minutes or 13 minutes, something like that. And when I start, I was doing the first time I did it in 3 hours 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I flew maybe for an hour or something. And then I couldn't take off the board, man. I was just paddling, but nothing happened. And yeah, the start in sub downwind foil when you don't know and when you really discover the sport is really really tough.
Yeah.
But then when you know how to do it's the best sport ever. It's
It,
really the most beautiful sport ever,
it
for sure.
really is. And I think all of us have been through some level of struggle, less, some people less than others, but there's that learning experience that I think really brings the downwind fall community together, because we've all had that like
Yeah,
initiation, we've all had that bad experience. And you know 3 hours on a 28K run, and now you're doing 284 Ks in a 14-hour run. So you've
yeah.
increased your average a lot. um but if
Yeah,
you
when you don't fly, you don't fly, and you're really really slow.
Yeah, you either go, and that's with the racing. Actually, we'll go into that later, but it's hard for organizers, I think, because foils are either the fastest by like a lot, or they're the slowest by a
Mhm.
lot. So for people that are learning,
Yeah.
it's not the best. Like if you were to go with a beginner today, it'd be like you're doing different sports. One person's taking 3 hours, another person's taking 1 hour, and
Yeah.
it's tough, but it's that initiation that I think gets people so hooked on it,
Yeah.
because once you get it, it's like nothing else.
Hmm.
If you
Yeah,
were to
it's
give
really
people
crazy. Like it's
if you were to give people that are learning like one bit of advice that maybe you received, or you've given to someone else that really allowed it to sort of click for you, what would that piece of advice be?
my advice is really about the gear counts a lot. Like the weight of the board counts a lot. Like there is a really big difference to take off an heavy or light board in SUP,
Mm-hmm.
and like to feel good on your gear, to be comfortable, to be able to paddle hard, but really really like your gear to be adapted of what you want to do and to be easy. Like it's like surfing. Sorry, like it's like surfing when you start surfing. If you want to start surfing with a short board, it will be super hard. Like to really go with a comfortable gear. Then to also keep in mind the safety, because we are far out on the ocean, so the safety, but it's very basic, but the safety is as always super important. And then to reach, if it's possible, if you have the opportunity to train on the waves, like if you know how to manage your sup on the waves, like surfing and then pumping back to the peak, paddling, like this helped me a lot, and still I'm still training a lot on the waves, like on the, even if it's small, even if it's shitty, you just like
Mm.
try on the
It's a,
waves. Much
yeah,
easier than going in the downwind directly.
yeah, no, for sure. Great advice. And I think
Mm.
especially the shitty conditions on the SUP, like I remember when I was learning, the best the conditions I enjoyed the most was like a 10 knot onshore wind, because you could just paddle out like maybe 50 meters beyond the waves, and you could take off on like a little tiny chop, and
Hmm.
that chop would turn into a little tiny wave, and you could go all the way into the beach and then try to pump back out into the wind. And you just learn so much for downwind conditions if the wind's
Yeah.
just straight on shore in your surf break, because like you said, being familiar with your equipment,
Uh-huh.
and then familiar with your equipment in the conditions. And surf surf zone is almost harder, I think, than good downwind conditions. because the waves are further apart. So yeah, great advice. Thanks for sharing.
Uh-huh.
Let's get into the
Yeah.
world record attempt. And I don't want to start on the day that the world record started. I want to go back and, you mentioned earlier, like when I did it about 15 months ago, that sort of set up a bit of a fire in you, and sort of opened your eyes to like what was possible. But you mentioned like why, and I know you did it for the protection of the Portuguese coastline, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just tell us about the whole. I know how hard it is to organize, so tell us about that process and a bit of insight into that.
Yeah, actually, the hardest part is really to keep the people with you and to have a good team and to organize everything. And so I did it for the Portuguese coastline for my area where I immigrate 5 years ago. And unfortunately, the politics of Portugal decide to open our opportunity to everyone that want to invest and build whatever they want. So it's really getting super sad at the moment with golf, like many golf course near the one to each other, really close to the coast on the cliff. It's really something interesting, and agriculture and like it's really about the excess, like the project that doesn't have any limits. It's not about luxury tourism or agriculture or solar panel. It's really like the immensity of the project. So it's something that touched me a lot because I love the nature, and then everything we do, if we go over the limit, we start to have a very very negative impact on the nature. And then I was thinking to do 120K at the beginning, my area, Alentejo, from one city, like from the first city to the last one, all along the coast. And this would be like a solo, because I never organized something with an escort boat and a team. So I am a very wild person doing my stuff, going alone. And my record was 100 kilometer in France in Downwind foil. And then I received my new Axis board, my 610, like the long skinny board.
Mm-hmm.
And I took it off on the flat water with a bigger foil, but I was like trying, and I was thinking, what is this, man? What is this long skinny board that we now can start on almost nothing?
Mm.
It means that if you can start the board on really little tiny shop, the story is completely different. You can start early in the morning, means like with less wind. And then I was thinking, okay, I take the map of Portugal, the wind, and then the configuration, and then I was thinking, okay, so I can try it. And even if and also in my mind, I had your record, I had the record of Jules of 200 kilometers in France,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking, yeah, maybe I can give me the opportunity to, if I can go whatever I can, I go for it. And then if I stop before, I have also I can also stop before and say, okay, guys, it's 180, 200, 220. I go to the beach and take a beer, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Then I had this 285 kilometer, 275 kilometer in a straight line in front of me. And then, because when like, in my point of view, when you want to perform, it's not good to be really only focused on your result. Like, when I compete and everything, I like to be focused on what I do on the moment, and then let's see what happened. And then if the result is here, all good. But if it's not possible, it's not possible. So I talked about it with a few friends. Some of my friends told me it's impossible, you are completely crazy. And some of my friends told me, yeah, let's go for it. You will do it for sure. Or at least try, you know. So yeah, to find the escort boat was not so easy because like Portugal is a really nice country with amazing people, but the ocean culture is not so big. It's not like France or Spain or other European country. Then I found a crew to do my escorts, and then it just went with the flow. Just went with I to be honest, this Downwind have been finalized with the budget 15 days before the date of the Downwind. Like I was giving like the opportunity to many brands, many people from Portugal, like with the different budget, like 1, 2, 3, like, and then the media incentive and stuff. But like it's so new and it's not so easy to understand what is it, you know, sub domain foil when you are not in our community. The people they think you have a fucking motor.
Yeah.
You're like, what is this? You know, they are like, just no, I don't invest money on something I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
So I finally presented to Axis, and Axis in a few hours told me we go for it. So I was super lucky to have them to support me and to say, yeah, of course, let's do it. We give you the opportunity to do it. And also Vayu, and then Duna Park Hotel, the main hotel of my village. And then I had these 3 brands that support me, and Pantalasa TV from Sergio Penso that wanted to do the documentary.
Yeah.
Super cool to shoot with them.
Yeah.
Great guys.
Yeah.
Great guys. We had a lot of fun. And then, yeah, like calling the friends. Guy, we need somebody for like to bring this car back to Sagres. We need like a lifesaver. I have one friend. He was in Amsterdam, and just the night before, he said, "Okay, I'm coming. Lifesaver on the boat, like in case of emergency." You know, you don't know. But it was really like the the planet was aligned, you know, like it was really like thank you universe for giving me this opportunity. And the condition, like it's super hard to connect the crew and you say, guys, it's next week, but you don't know because here in Portugal what's happened in summer, it's so warm that sometimes the warmness cancel the wind. Like you can have great forecast, but no, today it's not windy because it's too hot. Sorry, guys. So you know, you're always like you don't you don't really know, and that's why I feel super lucky. Not like at the end, it's not to have done this long downwind. It's to have all of this little detail align, the crew, the condition, the boat, everything. Like it's really, I'm so grateful about it, more than the journey itself, let's say.
Yeah, no, I 100% like I know exactly what you're talking about because to get to the day of the adventure or the record day, like at the start line, you know that it's probably going to be like it's going to be fine. Like everything's there. You got the boats, you got the wind, you got the medic, you got the captain. You got the documentary guy. Like everything's lined up. And for me, I had no doubt that I was going to make it. And it sounds like for you, like it didn't even matter. It was just like everything's good. You know, I'm just going to enjoy the process now because to get here was you're scraping around for this, you're scraping around for that. And like you said, sponsors have no idea what it is you're doing. Like it's
Yeah.
big, like,
It's a craziness. Like
yeah, it's beyond what people can imagine.
mhm,
And
mm.
it's they don't understand, like, the number of times I've come in from a foil, like on a downwind, and they're like, "Oh, was that you out there? Yeah. Where's the motor?" And it's like, nah, I guess, here, or my legs,
Yeah, where is
if
the
it's,
sail?
yeah, where's the
You don't have
sail?
a sail.
Yeah, yeah, people are freaking out. So, because it's such a new sport, it requires a brand like Axis and other brands within the foiling community to kind of to back it. And I was lucky enough to have Axis support me, and they supported you as well, which is so cool. And it's
Mhm.
you got to give thanks to brands like that, Axis and Axis especially, for both of us. And it's cool to have that opportunity to do it. Not all of us,
Mhm.
like Jules, have a crazy friend with a jet ski. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes we need a bit more than that. So yeah, big thanks to them. But
Uh-huh.
tell us about the day. Like, as soon as you released the video saying you're going for it, I got like 5 or 6 people message me and say this chick's going for your record. I'm like, awesome. I was just so stoked because I just feel like the more people that do it, the more it becomes, people understand what it is, and they're going to go for it themselves. And it just makes it, it legitimizes what we're doing, essentially, the more people that do it. And
Mhm.
I straight away I messaged you and said, "Oh, good luck, and hope all the
Yeah,
conditions look
thank you so
good."
much. It helped you. Yeah, it
Yeah.
helped me a lot. Like,
And then I looked at the forecast, and it looks like, I'm like, oh, she is on. It looks windy from the start to the finish, and on the forecast anyway. And like you said, the forecast isn't always the best.
mhm.
But and then I tuned in the morning of, and I was watching, and you were, the boat was a little far away, but you were paddling out towards the wind line. And I looked at it, and like, as soon as I saw the conditions, I'm like, she's going to smash it, because it was not much wind. It was a little bit
Mhm.
offshore, it looked like, but there were nice sort of rolling swells, or going the sort
Yeah,
of,
it was more swell than wind at the
yeah,
beginning.
yeah, yeah. So
At
once you
6,
talk
we
us through
start
it.
at 6 at 6 a.m. And actually, I start from a place that I've never been before. I just
Mhm.
saw it on the map. And the night before I went, I was like, okay, I can enter here. Looks
Yeah.
cool. Not so rocky, not so wavy.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, there was this perfect configuration with one cape, a bit out on the ocean. And it was a bit foggy. Like it was not so windy, so to take off because it cost me a lot, like about 15 minutes to catch a bump and then to finally get the flight.
Mhm.
And then once I was flying, there was this nice wind swell coming from north of Portugal, so really, really nice to ride, but not so much the help of the wind. And then I did on this journey, I did a lot of things myself, like the organization, the crowdfunding link for the association, the communication to the media, and this kind of stuff. And I didn't took the time to do my itinerary on
Mhm.
my watch, like
Uh,
my waypoints and this kind of stuff. So I was thinking, okay, I have the boat, they have the map, and we will do it like that. Will work. My friend knows, and let's do it like that. It will
mhm.
be we do the straight line. But yeah, so about it was always like a little surprise to see with the fog the coast, communicate with the radio with the boat to manage to be, because I really had to go out to go to the right. And the first 75 kilometers of the downwind without the wind was like, oh, with like not so much wind, was really painful, like really like exhausted.
Yeah.
And also on the morning, you're really, like, I'm not a morning person, so waking up, like getting into my rhythm, And I was like, I want a coffee. I want to like to get into it, you know. So I made it to the Cabo da Roca, which is a mystical cape in Portugal. It's the cape, the more like the cape more to the west of Europe, like the extreme west of Europe.
Yeah.
And so it's a very typical place for Europeans or Portuguese. And then was like middle of the morning, and the wind stopped to pump,
Hmm.
and then everything was different from this point.
Yeah.
After the first stop, after 3 hour and a half of downwind, then when you have the wind with you and the good condition, yeah, I could really enjoy it much more.
Yeah. No, I can definitely sympathize with you. That first, you know, early start, not much wind, everything's organized, everyone's looking at you. How's she gonna go? Is she gonna be able to paddle up? And
Yeah, on
then
the live,
yeah,
and you
and
are like,
then
ooh.
yeah. And it's like, okay, okay, everyone's watching, let's go. And it's there's like the hardest thing for me actually, and I want to ask you as well, but obviously the trust in the forecast and then knowing that if the wind doesn't come up, then how's my body going
Mm-hmm.
to react? Because, you know, similar for me, it was the first 2.5 hours was like no wind and the swell was going the wrong direction. And it was like I was pumping the entire time. And it was like in my head, the way I guess rationalized
Yeah,
with it
and
was that
it's early on the morning, yeah.
yeah, and you're like, I've got at least 10 more hours to go. And if it's like this, it's going to be not a fun
Yeah,
day, you know, not fun.
it's not the same sport. You're not like definitely not doing the same sport, pumping without wind or being touched by the wind. Like it's completely different.
Yeah. So
Really something else.
how did you
So yeah.
mentally deal with that? So, you know, there was no wind or the wind was sort of offshore and you think, okay, I've got to go this direction, but the wind's taking me this direction. Like, were you in your head, were you thinking it's going to get good? Or were you thinking I can do this all day? Or what was your, you know, what was your mind telling you?
Actually, yeah, I was thinking like if it's like this during the or like the whole downwind, we'll be super happy and we'll be like almost impossible. It's not impossible, but you already finished like
Yeah, dead.
mm, dead,
Yeah.
dead. Like, but then yeah, I was pretty confident because looking at the forecast, it would be very weird to not have a wind after like, and I so I start from 1.2, and when I from Peniche, and the first stop was actually the most wind like the windiest place, one of the windiest place of Portugal, Guincho, which is a windsurf spot, and this place it's almost impossible to not have a wind
Mhm.
there. Like I guess everywhere in Portugal can be not windy, but here you get wind.
Mhm.
It's already like this cape. So at least when I arrived in Guincho, Cabo da Roca, where the conditions were pretty good. And then from when you have good condition, you don't think about
Yeah.
bad. Like you're just in like I was just enjoying it like and also on our route we went really far out, what means that it can be not so much windy on the coast because of the heat, but when you are far out on the ocean, no,
Mm.
like normally you have wind.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
Yeah.
you have swell because the swell, like the wind do all north to south of Portugal, and then it comes from very far up north. So
Yeah, it was.
Still have
Yeah,
swell to ride on
yeah,
the on the good direction.
yeah, which
Yeah.
is the most important thing. That's good to
Mhm.
know a bit of like insight because in like from what you just said, you had the windiest place in Portugal, 1 or 2 or 3 hours into the run, so you're always looking forward to that. And then you're going further out just in
Uh-huh.
case the heat stuffed up the land stuffed up the wind. So yeah, it's cool to know. Like you had in your head, it sounds like you were saying, okay, if I do this and I do this, then I'm going to have good conditions. And then once you have good conditions, you don't think about what's going to happen because you're just in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
was more thinking about the orcas that was doing their life, because they are there, and there was some interaction with a sailing boat. At the moment, the orcas, they like train or they attack the sailing boat in
mhm,
Portugal and Spain.
yeah,
And then, yeah, this on the subsoil, I want like dolphin or even shark, but orcas, no, or really from far away. I don't want an
yeah,
orcas going like behind my board.
no,
Thank you, man. I was,
yeah,
it was more like about this, my
yeah,
focus on the what's going on.
yeah. So there were orcas, right? Like, did you see orcas or no?
I saw one fin,
Hmm.
but it was a fisherman box. I
Ah,
saw like this wood, like
yeah,
this huge thing going to me. I was like, and then I cried to the boat, like, guys, there is an orcas, come, come. And then this thing went super far to me, it was like really going to me like this, but it was actually me going to this fisherman box
yeah,
that was signalized with a wood and a little flag. So it was not an orcas.
yeah,
But yeah, luckily my lifesaver friend, Portuguese lifesaver friend that was on the boat was connected with the lifesaver on the land, and they told him where was the orcas, where the family was. There was more to the land, and then we went a bit more out, and
yeah,
then we didn't cross the road. Like I was like between wanting to see them because it's a unique opportunity to be safe with
yeah,
the safety boat.
hmm,
Usually we don't go with the safety boat, like with the escort boat.
yeah,
So if you see an orcas and you are alone, it's not the same story.
mm,
And yeah, of course, with the fear to not so being much comfortable to do foil with orcas. Like you
yeah,
don't know what can happen.
yeah, yeah. They're
Even if they are super smart and they know exactly where you are. Of course, they have never seen a foil, or I don't think so. But yeah, I mean,
yeah. Best to
um,
not encounter them. I think was a good thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
So
cool.
yeah,
And then
didn't see the orcas this day.
how far out? Like, what was your maximum distance out to sea? Do you know? Did you measure it or?
I think we went 50K or 60K out. Yeah.
Wow, long way out.
Mm.
Yeah, that's serious. That's
Yeah, it was also because the route was like the straightest route was like that, and also because the coast like turn a bit, like from one point you can be close, and then you have this beach that is really like doing a curve, and then you are out.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
but with the boat was okay. Like we were super close to each other, connected with the radio,
Yeah.
and it was fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there was this time when we were really far out, the connection with the ocean and I was really thinking, wow, I'm so lucky to be here with
Yeah.
my friends, and being so much connected with the element, with the ocean. Like it was super high, super strong.
Definitely. It's a special feeling being
Mm.
out there. And that's the middle of the ocean. That's um for me, when I was that far out, I actually had current going the wrong direction. The East
Oh
Australian
yeah.
current, we had current against us. So I was using the 1099 and I think it was the 325 progressive, and I was doing the slowest kilometers I've ever done while the bumps were still like really good. I was doing like
Wow.
3 minute, like 3 minute 30 to 3 minute 40 kilometers, but like
No way.
feeling like I was going so
You were
fast.
firing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was the current for me when I went too far out was our summer current goes north to south, and I was going south to north. Um, but it was so we had to go a lot further. I actually had to go like two or 3 kilometers further into shore to get back over the
Mhm.
the shallower water. So I had less
Uh-huh.
current, and I went from doing 330s to when I went further in to like 250s just from changing my course, which was
Incredible.
yeah, it's pretty amazing how the
Wow.
currents can affect even a foil that much, because it's just the foil slicing through the
Yeah.
water. It's not the board.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's
Hmm.
but yeah, for me it was crazy because conditions were really good, but I'm like, man, I'm going so slowly. Um,
And
but did you
then
didn't did you?
on a long distance, it changed a lot. Huh?
Oh yeah,
When you do a few kilometer, like, and you are slow, it has a big difference, and you spend more energy too. Huh?
yeah, for sure. Did you have any moments like that where all of a sudden your speeds got really fast, or all of a sudden your speeds got really slow?
Not really. No, it was pretty the same. Yeah. Or I was not so much focused on my watch. Maybe
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah,
I was more focused on my itinerary and on my, like, yeah. I'm not like, I didn't check it so much. Like, sometime when I got some nice bump, I check my speed going well, but no, I think was not so, like, so much different with the current this day.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. It's good. That's ideal. So what sort of speeds
Yeah.
were you, and what equipment were you using? I know it was the Axis. Let's start with the board and then the mast
The
fuse.
board was the Downwind board, the my 610 by
Hmm.
19,
Yeah,
90 liter.
nice.
A
Yeah,
board made for me that I really like.
yeah,
And then I use a 75 carbon mast, the
yeah.
power carbon,
Hmm.
with ultra short fuselage,
Hmm.
with a front wing that is coming soon, an Art Pro,
Yeah,
that, yeah, a new one,
yeah.
that I really love. And then the 300 progressive.
Oh, nice. I thought you
Yeah,
might have been using
the rear.
yeah. I thought you might have been using the skinny, but
I'm still not, like, I need to train more on the skinny to do such a long distance. I really like to be good and to have a comfort. Like, I still do mistakes, and then I prefer to keep the flight with like bigger gear, and keep like turn and then going again, like,
yeah, yeah,
instead of having a very performant equipment and then just doing full speed, and when you lose speed,
yeah,
you just lose the flight. Yeah,
yeah,
so for now, I for this day, I prefer to do with the progressive.
yeah. Yeah, so the Art Pro I had a bit to do with helping. Like I had a lot of feedback back and forth with Adrian when I was working with Axis, and
Hmm.
they're look, they're great foils. I was pretty proud of what we came up with, and it's look, they're much. A lot of people, I've seen people using them, and a lot of people are using them like in the surf for pumping. But to me, they're really good just for downwind, like because the speed that once you get it up to speed, they glide really well. So it was
Yeah.
there were a few prototypes that fastest ever times, and sometimes it was the foil was going too fast for the conditions, which is for doing a 14-hour downwinder is a problem. So can you tell us what sort of size range it was? Because obviously there's the 1201 Art Pro, and then there's a bunch of smaller ones that are coming.
It's a 1,000 centimeter square.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's,
Mm.
yeah, I think that's the one that I really enjoyed too.
Yeah, for my size, like for my weight, it's the good size to start on small condition, and then to keep it, like to push it on like my highest speed. Like for me it's the good compromise, like the good wing to do everything,
Yeah.
or to be good on if the condition change, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't the
Mm.
fastest, wasn't like necessarily the fastest foil that you would use. It was a step
Like,
up.
yeah, actually this foil is the foil I went the fastest. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
did a 40 kilometer with,
Yeah.
and then I fell.
Yeah.
Like, I did one day I did one bump, and then second bump, and then third bump, and yeah,
Big crash.
in SUP, in SUP I crashed at 40 kilometer per hour, but for me, like, I was pretty happy with that. And then I gave it to a friend that prepared it because it was a bit broken.
Mm-hmm.
Then he prepared it a bit, and he sent it at 1,000 cents.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The
Wet and dry. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this, yeah. So, and then I think it's better, 3,000 on the top
Mm-hmm.
and 1,000 on the, like, or maybe it's just in my mind. It's just me. I'm not in a great shape, and then I don't push the foil that much. Like, I don't know, but
Yeah. Yeah.
my
Yeah.
best, my highest speed on the downwind was 23 kilometer per hour,
Oh,
which is cool.
yeah. That's your, so you're 23 kilometers per hour top speed or average, like average speed?
Yeah, top speed. Yeah, top
Uh-huh.
speed. And then average, it's hard to say because you stop and then you go again, and like,
Mm.
was 19 something, 19.8, or my
Yeah.
average speed,
Mm-hmm.
which is like usually I do between 21 and 23 kilometer per hour
Mm-hmm.
average speed.
Yeah. But you said, no, you said your top speed was 23 or 33?
23,
When,
33,
yeah, I was going to
33.
say, yeah, I was going to say if
Top
you're
speed.
only going
Top speed.
23, 19's a good average, you know?
No, no,
Yeah.
23 was
Yeah.
the,
Yeah,
yeah,
the average.
no,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So 33 top
sorry.
speed,
Yeah, yeah.
which,
That's 33. Yeah.
but actually a lot of people think for these sort of super long distance foils that like attempts that, the windiest conditions, like, 40 knots the whole time is the best. But when I was looking for those days that were like 15 to like 25, because when it gets over
Mm-hmm.
30 knots, for my mind to like read the
That's
bumps,
crazy.
it's like
Too much.
you'll crash. Like you're just going to crash more and more. So was that
Yeah.
something like you were looking for, like not crazy winds, but just like steady winds?
It's hard to say because at some point you go with what you have,
Yeah.
and then it's so long that for sure you're gonna have less wind at the beginning, and then at the end of the day the wind pump with the thermic wind, especially now in summer. And my finish point was in Sagres, so the southern west point of Portugal, and there it's a cape where the wind just
Mm.
gets stronger and stronger. So when we get there was 25, 30 knots,
Yeah.
but it was still okay. Yeah, it was still manageable. It was not the what did Jules
No.
in the
Yeah.
Mediterranean.
Yeah.
It's something else. Like when you have 40, 30, 40 knots in the Mediterranean, can be like for your brain. There is so much bump everywhere and information. You have to really like being like on a video game, but going super fast. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I did it a lot, like a lot, because I used to live in the Mediterranean, and then you do more effort on your brain that on your body, like on your physical
Yeah,
body. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. And then the other thing people ask me is does swell help? Like if the swell was bigger, would it have made it easier, or would you be looking for like a day that was closer to flat? So like, would you prefer 10-foot surf or no surf?
This is a good question, actually, because the big swell can help, but you really have to be on the rhythm, like to really be like. But this day was not with some with like the ocean was not with a period with like was not so strong, was more like wave of the like swell of the wind,
Mhm.
even if it was pretty big, like pretty nice, like 2 2 meter high sometimes. But yeah, I think that my favorite condition are like pretty nice as well, because also it's playful,
Yeah.
and I like it, like a bit of a challenge, a bit of spicy
Yeah, yeah, for
in the
sure.
challenge. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
And it's not like like it's the set coming. You have the wave, and then it's like when you surf, like there is this nice set coming, and then boom, you go into it. So it's not like it's a bit. You have some break.
yeah.
You are not always like full speed, pushing, pushing, pushing.
Yeah. For going for maximum distance, would you prefer that's like the big sets, or would you prefer like just like this mid-period wind swell, 5, 6 seconds, or 10 to 15 seconds, I guess is
Yeah, I prefer the small period. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure, because it's much easier. It's much easier to manage, and you have more opportunity. Like you can make mistakes, and then you have always like this small bump between that you can ride. And
Yeah.
but yeah, the big swell are also nice.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the best, the best of the best. It's have a mix of condition, and then you adapt. And then okay, during this time, like during this distance, you have this, and then like I think that the diversity make the thing more fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think
So if this happen, it's the best. And yeah,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's actually what happened to me. Like the first part was more swell and pretty nice period, but sometime like not so much. Yeah, was not so. Yeah, was okay. And then short period, a nice bump, and then the finish was like big long swell, and almost like breaking outside,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yee, let's go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, was not the original plan. But so I tell it to you now. My captain announced me that he didn't take enough gas to go to the finish.
hmm
So we had to go more to the shore for them to take the gas
hmm
at the and like so I did one part of the downwind alone, and then we went close to the cliffs of the south of Portugal. You have a huge cliff, and then I was on the backwash.
hmm
And the backwash is not nice to finish an
Not
adventure like
after
this. Like,
not after 13 hours, no.
yeah, man, was super challenging. Huh? Like, was when it's like big, like pretty nice swell with a period going into the rocks and the cliff and going back to you, like it's like.
Yeah.
And this was pretty hard, and a lot of focus. I was trying to fly low, but to keep the flight, and I was just thinking, keep the flight. Don't do anything else. Just try to keep flying. And
hmm
even that, poof, the foil go out of the water because it was not organized at all. Like even reading and trying to find my way was super complicated.
Yeah. Yeah. After 13 hours with the back, like, because backwash, for those that haven't experienced it, when there's big cliffs like that, it's like you've got your set your swells that are going one direction, and then you've got another set of swells that are coming back at you, and then you've got another set of swells coming across you, and then it's just like there's wind and waves from every direction, and you could be on a perfect one, and then a bump that you didn't even see could come across and knock you off, or you could be focusing on one that's coming towards you, and like it's like going over speed bumps coming from every direction while still going like
Mm-hmm.
down a hill. It's not ideal after, foiling for 13 and a half hours, not even ideal after foiling for 10 minutes, so it's tricky. And
Yeah, it's
I was wondering, because and that makes sense, because when I was watching the live at the end, the I think obviously I think the phones died as well, so the live stopped, but there was a point where you were 250 Ks in and it was like 14 hours, and and that was the last update we got on social media. And I was wondering how the finish
mm-hmm.
was. So I guess that was part of the finish, but tell us about the finish all the way to the beach. So what was it like?
Yeah, so we did the 200 kilometers. And then at this point, the captain told me that he realized that there was not enough gas on the boat to go to the end. And then I was like, first, I was disappointed because I was thinking, how is it possible to do that? And then I was thinking, okay, it's just a part of life. What can we do? We are here on the ocean, so we have to find a plan B,
Mm-hmm.
a solution to this. And then like I think also the like the guys of the boat that are usually not doing this, nobody do it usually.
Yeah.
They have their own company to see dolphins, and they were super nice to go on the adventure because we had one friend in a common, and they said, yeah, let's go, but they didn't realize what it was, and how, and what was my mindset. My mindset was to do a record, was not to do like to cruise. Like of course I had this time with the flow, like just being part of the ocean, like enjoying a lot. But then when they told me jump on the boat, we're gonna take some gas, I say, no, no, guys, you don't understand what we are doing
Yeah.
today. I stay, I do my record. It's once in one day in my life, and I go until it's dark,
Mm-hmm.
until the night. I will be here. If I don't go to my goal, I do my best, but I don't go with you on the boat.
Yeah.
You go on the to take the gas. We connect the GPS, the point.
Yeah.
Actually, the truth is we connect the WhatsApp
Yeah.
because it was the only way to be. So we connect the blue points,
Yeah.
on the phone,
Wow.
like really crazy stuff. And then they after a while, my girlfriend explained them that it was okay for me to stay on the ocean, that I used to do it alone. Like usually I do it without the boat. So it's okay to stay on like the guys, they really didn't want to leave me there.
Mm.
And also it was near a big cape of like with rocks and stuff, so it was a bit dangerous. But then they went take the gas. It was of course a bit an additional stress,
Mm-hmm.
like because you don't really know if they will find you.
Yeah, for
Then
sure.
I did like an hour alone.
Yeah.
The sun was going down, and I was thinking I will be super happy when they will be back, huh?
Yeah.
Because like I know pretty well how is the coast of Portugal because I lived there 2 years
Mhm.
and I train a lot there. So in case like if I need to finish it alone, I know where to go,
Mhm.
and I know where I am, and I know like, and I had also my like one phone on me. But yeah, this day the swell was pretty consistent, and I didn't want to reach the beach like, hey, it's me,
Yeah.
with the stop
Yeah. Yeah.
on a 2 meter or 3 meter high swell.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then yeah, they cut the live, of course, because they were focused on going on the on this little harbor, putting the gas with the guy on the land that was following, like driving south with the car,
Yeah.
and going to the Chinese shop, buying a tank, going to the gas station, putting the gas, tac tac, and then back to me. And luckily we found each other, like they
Yeah.
found me.
That's that's impressive that they could find you after doing all that because um a lot that's it's not easy to find someone when you're downwind, like let
Yeah,
alone yeah, on a like
especially with the WhatsApp blue point,
yeah,
like the
that's not the most
like the
reliable.
direct
Yeah.
localization.
Mm.
And they were like, where is he
Yeah,
from?
yeah.
Like it was really the adventure,
Mm.
completely the adventure.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the sun was going down, and then on the boat they were like this, they were like, when she will stay, when she will say it's
Time. Yeah.
finished. Because so this lap to go to the more to the coast was an additional 30 kilometer. If I would go to my to the point to my to the point I was that I wanted to reach,
Mm-hmm.
the Cabo San Vicente in Sagres,
Mm-hmm.
that was originally 275 k. I did 285 k in total, but it was 10 kilometer missing, like 10 or 15 kilometer missing
Yeah.
to go
To the
to
final
the
destination.
point
Yeah.
that to the final original destination.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was thinking, and then like there was the sunset, and then the moon came up, and almost no more lights, and then the light of the moon, and then the light of the lighthouse. You
Uh,
really see
yeah, yeah.
it. You really see the lighthouse. Yeah, it's just here, just
Mm-hmm.
more half an hour, and we are there. It's okay. But
Yeah.
now it's more 20k, so
Yeah.
it's not half an hour. It's an hour something,
Yeah.
or an hour. And yeah, and then it was really dark, and I did 2 or 3 takeoff on the night,
Mm-hmm.
because I was on the backwash, imagining the bumps, and then falling down, and then trying again to take off again. And I think this time, for the crew on the boat, they were really thinking I was completely crazy. Like they were thinking, but what is this girl doing?
Yeah.
Like, and I was no more on the flow. Huh? I was completely on the warrior mode. Like,
Yeah.
if I need to paddle on my belly to the cape, I will do it. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
thinking this, like like the sub racing
Yeah.
athlete. Like
Yeah.
a stupid,
Yeah.
stupid person.
Not
No,
thinking. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you already did 200 something kilometer. It's okay, no? No,
Yeah.
no, no. I want to go there. Well, and then yeah, it was super dark, and the lifesaver, my good friend on the boat, told me, "Hey, Olivia, you did the job. Come on the boat. It's okay." And then I said, "Okay, it's okay. We are done."
Yeah.
So I didn't reach the beach because it was by night. It was like big, like the swell was big, and the harbor for the boat was 20 kilometer away,
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
or something like that. So I jumped on the boat, and then we did we passed the Cape of Sagres, and then we arrived on the harbor where my good friend, was waiting for me. I was late. I was really late, like 2 hour or 3 hour late, and
Yeah.
they were still there.
Good
So
friends.
super happy to see them. Yeah,
Yeah.
good friends. Wow, incredible. And then yeah, we went and we arrived at I stopped paddling at 10 something, 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then we arrived at the harbor at 11.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, super happy to reach the land
Yeah.
and to have done this. But like, a mix of feeling like I really tried to stay positive and to say, yeah, it's part of life. You can make mistakes. It's part of the adventure. It's super hard to manage everything, and people can make mistake. It's like that. We didn't have enough gas. We had to do the thing differently
Mm-hmm.
and just accept it. But
Yeah.
as a professional athlete, that we never have anybody, like we are alone usually.
Yeah.
It's just us.
Mm-hmm.
You have the start line and the finish line, and if you fail, it's just about you. It's not about him or her or you know. So it was actually the first time, like the first real time that I didn't fail, but it was not it was a fail actually.
Mm.
But
Yeah,
it was
but yeah, yeah,
like it was a different adventure. It was not the original plan,
yeah,
but it took me a while to accept it and to say, okay, it's like that, and then I can't change anything now, and it's part of the adventure.
yeah, yeah, out of your control. And I fully get, because I had a similar thing. The boat wanted to stop earlier, and my original plan was to go to
Yeah.
Bondi Beach, and we were
Uh-huh.
going past Cronulla, and Cronulla's like, I don't know, 20 k's short of Bondi, and they said, "Oh, we're going to Cronulla because we're running out of light. We want to make sure you get to the beach, and we want to
Uh-huh.
be able to when we want to be able to film it in the light." And I was like, I don't care about the filming. Like, I was like, let's just keep
Yeah.
going. I'm feeling good. Like, shut up. I'm going to where I want to go. And
Yeah.
they're like, no, we'll go to Cronulla. And the boat was like saying, look, you've got to go to Cronulla. And then I said, and it's okay, you got the last call. What do you say? And I said, okay, what's halfway between Cronulla and Bondi? And it was this beach called Kooyong Beach, Bear Island.
Mhm.
And they're like, okay, we can go here if you like, but I recommend going to Cronulla. I said, no, we're going to Bear Island because, stuff you're freaking light and filming. Like, I just want to, same as you, I want to go as far as I
Yeah.
can.
It's not
Yeah.
a shooting, guys. It's a
Yeah.
record.
Yeah.
So you adapt to the athletes. It's not the athlete that have to adapt to the filming.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
just take a flash. Just
Yeah.
take a fucking flash.
Yeah. It was like, yeah, but there was more to it than that. It was, we had like a land crew who was like, because it was in the city, it was like an hour extra to drive a bit further. And we had people that
Mm.
we had like so the media guy had organized like a news team to go to Bondi Beach, and then they're going to send them here and there, and then ended up being nothing. And it was like for me, I was like, I went as far as I could. I had another 45 minutes I could have done, but it was the balancing act, and so you had the exact same thing. It was you mapped it out. You had your 275 kilometers, point A straight line, point A to point B straight line, and obviously it was going to be more because when you foil, you zig and you zag. But it was like in your brain, it's
But
like,
then,
well,
but then you zag a lot. When you have to go to the beach, take some gas, you
yeah,
zag a lot. If you
yes,
zigzag, it's like a big zag from here
yeah,
and
yeah, more
then a
zag than
big
zig,
zig from
yeah,
here
yeah, yeah, exactly,
and
and
a big backwash. Oops.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
But yeah,
that's
it's a learning. It's a learning. It was when problem arrived, I try to think that it's an opportunity to grow
yeah,
and to learn something more and to not being like I really don't want to be bad with other because like don't let your ego taking the control. It's just about foiling. It's just about having fun
yeah,
and supporting association that fight for the climate change, and
mm-hmm.
it's not about only the performance.
Yeah, exactly
So
right, and that's
and people around you, they do a lot of effort, like they spend fucking all day on a
yeah,
boat
yeah,
without shade,
yeah,
like with a lot of cereal bar and water
yeah,
and food. But man, it's really a dedication, And so that's why I'm super grateful and super happy at the end, even if it was like that.
Yeah, it's such a different adventure, and it's over that distance, something is going to not go to plan, for that longer time. So yeah, it's interesting. We had the same sort of experience towards the end, or similar. I want to go through. I had a few questions. A few people were interested. Obviously, the equipment we went through, but they wanted to know. There's actually one really good question. So you did 284 kilometers. They said that if you were to go around the globe, that means it would take like, I don't know, they said like 2 weeks. Do you think you could do 250 or 284 kilometers like back-to-back days? Do you think that's possible?
Wow, good question.
Mm.
If the conditions are good, but I think it's also about the mindset.
Mm.
I think this day I was on a really different mindset because I did it with actually with love for the country where I live, and for the protection of the coast. And I didn't did it only for me, only for the sport performance. And then when you give something to other, you are on a. But yeah, maybe if the conditions are good. I'm thinking about a group of friend of mine. They are from southwest of France, and they did in prone paddleboard in relay. They did Lima to Tahiti, so Peru,
Yeah,
from
wow.
Peru to Tahiti, so 8,000 kilometers in 80 days.
Yeah.
Paddling during the day, during the night, 6 water women.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did a crazy effort. This is a
Yeah.
crazy effort, just paddling on the board
Yeah.
and doing like a lapse of 2 hours. So I think it's really depend of what is your mindset, why your soul is doing it, like, and also
Yeah.
about the condition for sure. If it's only pumping, no,
Yeah.
I die.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's downwind with some wind, why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
But it's also something that hurts, and I don't know if it happened to you. It's the feet,
Yeah.
like not moving so much. The feet after a few hours
Yep.
was pretty painful. Like
Yeah.
maybe you to wear shoes or something. That the feet was a problem.
Yeah. No, for sure. And yeah, I think it's a good question. I spoke to my dad about it before he passed away, but we spoke about foiling in the like down in the Roaring 40s, so like around Antarctica, and literally like there's the biggest open ocean swells, and the wind is always blowing. He's like, oh, you should foil down there. Maybe you can go around Antarctica. And it was like,
Oh.
you're crazy. He was he always had he always just planted the seed in me to say, hey, you should do this. And it was like, and then after something, okay, I try. And but yeah, that's when I can't remember who it was asked that question. I was like, well, if there's anywhere, it'd be cold, it'd be miserable, but maybe in summer down there, you have the wind, basically always is westerly, and it literally just goes around and around and around Antarctica. So maybe we do a relay. A relay effort.
Yeah, do it, man.
Yeah. Could be possible. Yeah.
With the wetsuit.
Yeah,
With
I
the
think
big wetsuits.
and booties and gloves and yeah.
And gloves and everything.
Yeah, everything. But yeah, I think it was a good question. But yeah, so yeah, that's a good question. So were your feet, was that the biggest problem, like, or was it your legs, or like where was the worst pain?
The legs, I felt it when I went on the boat at the end, when I finished. But riding, yeah, sometimes you can feel the legs, but it's not comparable with sup racing, for example, where you really feel the pain. You really feel your body's like.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, you don't. And also, I think it's so cool to foil that you have the balance with the emotion that you live, and you are just focused on the good thing. You are like, wow, so good. And then your body can be like,
Yeah.
no,
You forget. It's
yeah,
like
it's
it like tricks you. Like you're looking at the next bump and enjoying the ride you're on. You forget about
yeah,
the pain.
there is something like that. Yeah. First, it's not so physical, like it's physical, but not like suppressing or sport like that.
Mm.
And then when you do something that you love, it's okay.
Yeah.
Just yet the feet that don't like to be static so much time, and
You,
you have also your weight on the board. Like, yeah, it was pretty like the only thing that I
yeah.
felt, yeah,
Yeah.
about pain.
Yeah, nice. For me, my calves, like my lower calf muscle, was like seriously working,
Ah, yeah.
and I couldn't walk the like 2 or 3 days after because it was just like this.
The the curve is the curve of the feet, no?
No,
Is
the
what?
calf is like between just under your knee, so like the back of your shin.
Ah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like above the ankle, I guess was where I felt it. It was but yeah, feet as well were like
But your back leg, no, or your
uh,
front leg, or both.
I think it was the back mainly. Yeah, the back leg. Because when you
Yeah,
pump,
the
I
one
guess
that
you're like
touch.
pushing down on the like as you point, you like get up onto the ball of your foot, like this, then your calf engages.
Mm,
And that's for me was
yeah.
the biggest issue for me. But
Mm.
I only did 11 hours, not 14 and a half. So, you know. Um
Yeah, but once again, depend on the condition. Like if you, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
I don't want to. Yeah.
I love it. I think it's
Mm.
awesome. It's let's also
Mm.
talk about what did you use to fuel? Like what did you eat? I saw you had like a life jacket with your radio. But did you have food? Did
I
you
had water.
Yep.
I had water with a mix from a brand that does really good product, like a powder,
Mm-hmm.
organic mix of vitamin and sugar and stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
that I use for suppressing, and then
Mm-hmm.
I using especially during this day.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some almond paste.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I prefer.
Yeah.
And I put it without the plastic bag. Then I have no risk to put the plastic on the ocean, and the food is directly, like, I can directly
Eat it. Yeah, yeah.
pick up on my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And paste of date, paste of fig, and cereal bar. But the cereal bar was like, don't like so much the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, you
It's
don't have to
soggy.
fail.
Yeah.
And if it's too sunny, the chocolate start to be like soft, and then it's like, then you're like, oops, oops, oops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I did a few stops with the boat every 3 hour, 3 hour and a half. I was eating rice, veggies, and hemp. The
Mm-hmm.
hemp is really something that I love to
Mm-hmm.
eat for the power.
Yeah.
Hemp in a powder.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. Yeah, that's it's always a good it's so much better on a foil because when we paddle, like when we were paddling sups, it was so hard to eat
Yeah,
while paddling. But on the foil, you hold your paddle like under your arm and then you like, you eat this, do this, and it's like
yeah, yeah, yeah. You.
you have to still focus, but it's much easier. You can still go
Mhm.
good speeds while eating, whereas when you for sup racing,
Yeah,
you have to drink everything, and if you stop to eat, you have to stop paddling and you stop moving.
yeah,
So for me, it's a cool. It's nice to be able to eat while going
yeah.
good speeds.
When you do such a distance, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like like the Tour de France, how like they're riding and they sit up on their bikes and they grab the bag and they eat. On the foil, it's like that. I feel like
Yeah.
still riding, but we're hands free, which is it's
Mhm.
I enjoyed that difference from the longer just like Molokai 4 hours paddling 4 or 5 hours paddling. Um, it's hard. You're just drinking, like pretty much drinking your food, and it's after a while like drinking. carbohydrate, and it's no matter how much or how good it is, it's after 4 hours, it's not good. After 12 hours, after
Mm-hmm.
14 hours, it's even worse. So I like that. The lots of natural things. So like, you said paste of almond, paste of fig, paste of date, natural
Yeah.
things. And it's and then
Yeah.
rice. And I think a lot of people get a bit too caught up in like the nutrition. They see the triathletes, they eat the goos and all these sort of things that have been processed a lot. And I think it's cool that
Mm-hmm.
we can refuel by having unprocessed foods,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
better than anything else. So
Yeah, like natural thing, and if you like it, like if you like the taste, if there is vegetable protein, it's nice,
yeah,
but not so much. Like to be able to like the almond have a protein and fat and vitamin
mhm.
and the fig also is really like something that you. I think it's just important to have something that you like to eat.
Yeah, yeah, because
But
you're
for sure, if you eat meat, maybe it's more like ask you more effort to digest
yeah.
meat or something like that. Like,
Are you vegetarian?
uh, like I am vegetarian. I try. I breed ducks at home here,
Hmm.
and sometimes we eat one duck.
Yeah.
But I don't eat the meat from the supermarket.
Mhm.
I don't like the way it's done, so I prefer to do it myself when we do it. It's really occasionally,
Yeah,
but or sometimes fish, but not so much.
yeah,
No. I have
yeah,
mainly a plant based
yeah.
alimentation.
Yeah, no, it's similar to me, which is interesting because a lot of
You too?
people would, yeah. I mainly like if I'm eating um at home, it's like all vegetables, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes someone will bring over some fish, and we'll eat some fish. But and if we go out, I eat fish too because sometimes there's no vegetarian meals. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I haven't had like red meat or chicken or duck or anything like that for I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years, or probably 5 years now, since
Mm-hmm.
Denmark ISA, which that was when I
Oh
had my
yeah.
last. Yeah, that was the last time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a
Wow.
before that event I had remember my last meat meal was like a lamb shank in Sweden. Of all things to
Oh
have.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was nice, but I just like you said, takes longer to digest. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I find fish every now and then is okay, and then yeah, vegetables is fine for me, and it's yeah,
Mm-hmm.
interesting, right?
Yeah, it's just to know about how to eat well and to find the protein on the vegetable and to have a diversity of food and it's completely possible. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah,
actually, when I discovered that I felt better, like at least to try, and then I discovered that I felt that I feel better not eating meat, so keep it, and
yeah,
it works
yeah,
well.
yeah. That
Yeah.
was same with me. I just thought I would try and see if how I would feel, and actually, at first, my energy levels were a little bit low, but I went and saw my doctor do my bloods, and she said, okay, you need to have more of this, and this, and she said, if you're gonna not eat meat, you need to be doing this, and from then on, it's been like healthier than ever, So it's it's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know that you were a vegetarian.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess
But
pescatarian, but yeah, mainly plant based. Yeah,
yeah, pescatarian. Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to. I'm not that strict, I guess. It's hard to not have sometimes it's better to eat something than nothing, you know?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
It's not easy to be, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Mm.
Mm.
And I love Japanese. So, the sushi is good.
The sushi, yeah, it's super hard to eat only
Yeah.
vegetarian sushi.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that
Mm.
was anything else you want to add to explain like the world record foil that you set, like anything little bits we missed out that you want to add or
Uh, Yeah,
Any?
I would like to add that that sub domain foil is an amazing sport, and that we are really living something incredible. We are really lucky to live it because it's the beginning of a beautiful history, and it's the also what I think it's also beautiful in a sport. It's to have the peace between gender, and to be like to support each other, and to really get the harmony, and to find like a good way to be all together. And I feel that sup like always did, even in sup racing we were really unique, and then it's super cool to feel it also in sub downwind foil with the same community and the same human value. And then there is no bad energy, going into it, because the gender is also a big topic. It's ooh la
Yeah,
la.
yeah.
Like in wing foiling, what we see in wing foiling, it's like pretty strange, but luckily it's really cool in subfoil. And yeah, super excited to meet everyone in Hawaii in the next week. Like
Yeah,
all
let's
the
let's
kids, all the
let's go into
all
that.
the
So
guys.
yeah, because you're coming to Hawaii for, I guess, Downwind month or the races, and we spoke before we started recording, but you're doing Maui to Molokai, Patalumua, and then Molokai to Oahu. So
Hmm.
I guess obviously I was going to ask how your training's going, but obviously you just did a very long distance run. How does your mindset change from doing 14 and a half hours of downwinding to, I guess, in Hawaii? I'm expecting the races to be somewhere like, the Maui to Molokai, and Molokai to Oahu, probably around 2 hours. And then, Patalumua is like a sprint. It'll be like, 20 minutes or 30
Yeah.
minutes, So how do you change up your training for that? Or, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's like everything is so new that it's we can't expect anything. Like it's just about giving the best, and the good thing and the weird thing, I don't feel so like tired with with this long. Of course I take a few days to get better and recover well, but I don't feel like dead, like after an Ironman, for example. And then this is pretty nice because I can still train and do some more short training, and push more. But it's so in foiling, it's so much about like your start, and it's also about a little bit of luck, to be on the good bump and to read well and not doing mistake, like being like to be clever, to about your equipment also as well. So I go to Maui more to learn more by being with great people with bigger passion, and to exchange with other rider, and to see what is going on in Hawaii, to check, to do a little check around, like on Instagram. We see that like a lot of things are happening,
Yeah.
but then to see it for in a real will be amazing, and also to meet them all that we met on the social network, but not in the reality. So super cool to see all the like every everyone there,
Mhm.
and yeah, without expectation, just giving the best and having a lot of fun, and let's see what will happen.
Yeah. No, it's
Mm.
it's sort of similar to me. It's for you and I, like we've raced stand ups, and um with that it's more uh dedicated training and speeds, and if you're in the mix, because I guess it's an older stand-up isn't that older sport, but it's not as new as foiling is. And foiling is just, all the gear is getting better and better. It's just everyone's going faster and faster. And at this point in time, I think it's less about who wins it, but it's about being there, being a part of it, and enjoying it. Because it's because it, like as you said, there's obviously what we can control is how early we can get up and going, and then I guess staying up and going. But other than that, like if you fall, that's bad. If you don't get up at the beginning of the race, that's bad. But in the middle of it, like everything else, there's, your equipment can give you an advantage or a disadvantage for certain parts of the race, and then with equipment improving and getting so quick so fast, one person could have the best foil for the day, and good on them for doing the work beforehand to get everything dialed in. But also it's probably a little bit lucky that they picked the right foil in some respects too, because you never know what the conditions are going to be like. So a lot of people have said to me, put my money on you to win the Molokai, and I'm like, anyone could win it. I would honestly say, I think realistically, I think 10 to 15 people could realistically win the race. And it could be a different person for every race in Hawaii. Maui to Molokai, one person. Paddle-a-Mua, another person. Hood River, another person. And Molokai to Oahu, another person. Like it could be 4 different winners for the entire month. I'd be surprised if the same person won everything. Probably impossible, because Paddle-a-Mua and Hood River are the same weekend. But even for Maui to Molokai and Molokai to Oahu, I think it'll be a different person winning. And I'm just excited to be over there in the mix, and it sounds like you are too. So it's going to be a fun month over there, and looking forward to it, and getting a few runs in with you, and getting a few runs in with everyone else that's heading over for the race. Should be fun.
Yeah. You will stay in Maui?
Yeah, I'll be in Maui for the whole time. I was planning on going to Hood River, but like we spoke before, with Molokai to Oahu, literally a week before, Molokai to Oahu, Hood River, and then M2M, it made more sense for me to stay on Maui for the entire time, because to fly to Hood River and then fly back, there's travel, there's jet lag, and there's also I'm bringing my family with me. So if I was going to go to Hood River, it was 3 days away from the family and then come back. And so we'll just have a bit of a family holiday and enjoy this awesome new sport.
Full time.
Yeah. It should be fun.
So excited.
Yeah. Well,
it's really amazing.
Yeah, thanks so much, Olivia.
Thanks to you.
Yeah, I'm stoked that you achieved that mammoth record, and I'm excited to get a few runs over with you in Maui, and it'll be a good month ahead.
Thank you so much, James.
Yeah.
And thank you for opening the way of the long distance run, and it's also thanks to you. And it's like super cool to be part of it, and to have decided at some point that Downwind foil was the sport, and dedicate at 100%, and super happy to see what happened next. Cool.
I feel like 300 Ks in one day is just a matter of time now. It's just someone's going to do it.
It's incredible to see how fast the sport grow.
It's
like when you did 200K last year, was like, what is this? Like it was over and then now we are talking about 300K.
And then who knows, as foils get faster and people find conditions that are good, it's there's no limit. And I'm sure people will learn to foil in the dark, which is hard, but with a full moon it's possible, right?
With a full moon it's possible.
Yeah.
just
That's
need no shock because they like the noise and the vibration of the foil. So
yeah, yeah. No, it'd be it's an
yeah.
exciting time, and I think you said it well, Olivia. It's we're so lucky to be a part of this, like this time in history, and yeah,
Mm,
just enjoy.
mm.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah. Thanks,
Thank you,
Olivia.
James.
I'll see you in Maui. I'll see you soon.
Yeah. See you in
Yeah,
Maui.
yeah.
Ciao, ciao. See
Bye.
you soon.